Stan, he's a kid. He's a kid. You were never stupid. You never called the supermarket and said, do you have Prince Albert in a can? Let him out because he may be suffocating. He's a kid, Stan. Just let it ride. It'll pass. You've seen him. Good dude all the way around. Give him a fat contract next year. Put some stipulations in it. Tell him he can't hang around with his brother, but he's a kid, and he doesn't need you coming down on him before tonight's game, all right? You don't get to ground him and say he can't visit somebody else's locker, all right? All right, Stan, I got a show to do. Stan, no, I got a show to do. All right, talk to you later. Bye. This is RamView.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terozine, and this is RamView, the December 18th, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. Click on that QR code, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, by Sports Ball Games. Make game day funner for you and your crew. Play sports ball. Playing for a hill of beans or just jelly beans. Play sports ball game today. All right. And always, because we're in the season, Game Day in the Ram Cave, written by yours truly. Be sure to check that out in softcover and ebook format on Amazon. Rams playing the Packers in the NFC Championship game. You want to read that one. All right, we're happy we're here. Get that football throw in there for rhythm. Kroenke, man, if he wants me to take care of his kids, man, the guy's got to pay me the salary of a team chaplain, but he's kind of tight. He's not spending the dough. I think what upset him was I actually had a dream last night. I had a dream about the Rams-Seahawks game, and I never have dreams about the Rams. I never dream about sports stuff at all. I think I had a dream once I was a pinch hitter at Dodger Stadium, but that was like, I was like 20 years old or something when that happened, right? But last night I dreamt I was watching the Ram game, and the Rams got off to a good start, but things started to fall apart late, and the most distinguishing thing of watching that Ram game last night was a muffed snap between Stafford and Shelton. Stafford was under center, and he muffed the snap. Yeah, I'm going to put that to anxiety as opposed to prophecy and not get too worked up about it. But, yeah, that was one of the things that happened to me last night. Besides Kroenke wanting me to fix his children, again, anybody out there, Demoff or something, whoever's watching the show, stand yourself. I'd be happy to be team chaplain. I'll come in, do all that stuff. But until then, man, let me just do my show. I need a little more of this, to help you out. And just be patient with Puka. He's a kid. All right, Seattle without Charles Cross. That's going to be a key thing that's going to show us a lot of stuff tonight. We're going to focus mainly just on Rams topics here, since we're going to broadcast again tomorrow, and we'll talk about the rest of the week, 16 going forward. And but we're just going to focus on Ram talk tonight, a little bit around the NFL. You can't Jameel Hill is in the news with Cam Newton. I mean, that really means you got to have some attention somewhere. But let's talk about the Rams and Seahawks, which starts, I think in less than 2 hours. Seattle being without Charles Cross, hamstring. That's the big one, right? And I think them being without Charles Cross might be worse than the Rams without Devontae Adams. The Rams have some options, right? You go down the list of options, everyone from Whittington to Atwell to Mumfield to Xavier Smith to Terrence Ferguson being out there lined up wide. So the Rams have some options, 13 personnel, a vibrant running game. So Rams can make do without Devontae Adams, who is listed as doubtful tonight, which keeps us thinking, okay, something could happen here. Maybe he does become a decoy. But Seattle without Charles Cross is like a foot without a big toe, right? And Charles Cross isn't there to be that big toe tonight. So they're going to run in there Josh Jones. He's their backup left tackle. He was a third-round pick, 72nd overall in 2020 out of the University of Houston by the Cardinals. And he was in the Cardinals for about 3 years. This is his first start of the year. He's played 56 snaps this year. The last significant action he saw as a starter was in 2022, and the Cardinals moved off of him at the end of that season. And then they sent him to, I think, the Ravens and the Texans, and he bounced around a little bit before coming to Seattle. And this is the big one here, because this is the test for the Rams pass rush, which I've come to doubt and a few others have come to doubt. Charles Cross is good. He's more Alaric Jackson than Trent Williams, but and I think I like Alaric Jackson better, but Charles Cross is a good left tackle. We saw him get pancaked last year by Jared Verse, if you remember that one. No, that was Jordan Mailata. Jared Verse just ate him up. But Charles Cross is good. Josh Jones is less than good. And if the Rams can't exploit Josh Jones and the rest of that Seattle offensive line, then I think the question has been answered about the Rams pass rush. It's overrated. It's not non-existent. If this pass rush existed in 2023, Rams would have beat Detroit. It's a good pass rush. It's just not a great pass rush. And for a few weeks there, half of the season, we've been thinking we got an elite pass rush. And if you're not getting home, you're not getting home. Now, the only caveat to that I'll trade with it is you don't have to get the sacks as long as Sam Darnold throws 4 more interceptions. And then I think we're cool, right? Then I think we're cool. So I see you guys piling in here. Thank you so much. Tim Burns, ESG, Marketing Pro. We'll get to you guys in a second. I just want to make one more point about the Rams offensive line here a little bit. Remember this. The Rams offense seemed to stall down the stretch in the Week 11 meeting against Seattle. Remember that? The second half, the Seattle defense started to dominate. Let's remember this. Week 11 against Seattle was the last game Rob Havenstein played before going on the IR and Warren McClendon took over. And there haven't been any issues at right tackle since. That is something to think about right there. So what happened at the end of the Week 11 game could be a little bit different. Also, if the Rams can move, this is the game. If the Rams can move and get a push on Leonard Williams, Jerron Reed, and Byron Murphy, the defensive front for the Seahawks, then this contest is over. Because this has been my fear and my concern all season. Coleman Shelton and to some degree Steve Avila joining Kevin Dotson in getting a push. And that's the whole argument in the trenches from the Rams side. McClendon is replaced, an injured, kind of worn out Havenstein, and done a great job. And then right now, Jarron Reed did not play in the first game against the Seahawks. He's there now. We got to find out. Coleman Shelton's having a great year for Coleman Shelton. It doesn't mean he's Jack Rudnay, Mike Webster, or even Ken Iman, but he's having a good day, a good year. And then Steve Avila. We got to find out. Is he a little bit more than mediocre? Is he a little bit more 64 starting guards in the NFL. Is he more inside the top 32 than, somewhere between 40 and 64? So those are some real keys to tonight's matchup. Tim Burns, you can complain about the officials. Let's see here. You can complain about the officials when you're 3-11, not 11-3. Not helpful at all. We are going to regret that Puka comment. You know what? In one sense, Puka's already been screwed over by the officials. What they did last year when they threw him out of that game, yeah. Now, should he have kept his lips shut? Yeah. He's young. And I think I just shared this, and it was reminded to me by a friend today. I shared the analogy. My oldest daughter was always older than her age. When she was 8, she acted like she was 13. When she was 13, she acted like she was 17. And anytime as an 8-year-old, she acted like an 8-year-old. And anytime she was 13 and acted like a 13-year-old, we were shocked. Puka Nacua has been incredible for 3 years, and he's acting his age a little bit. It's showing through. What his brother does is not my concern. Someone needs to chill him out. And honestly, if we're going to talk Nacua, I'm not going to get into it when Eric Swalwell, the communist congressman from California, is ripping on him. So that's what I was telling Uncle Stan. He's a kid. We got to let it ride. It's not good. Not good. But yeah. So he should chill out, but it's not the end of the world. ESG coming in. Cranky, paying you like a 7th-round linebacker draft pick. I'm sorry, man. Which one did I you're talking to me? Am I cranky? Help me with that one, ESG, and I'll answer that one. Rams 34-24. Oh, okay. I've actually lowered my expectations in terms of the score. Marketing Pro, there's a lot of rain in the forecast for tonight's game. Opportunity, 13 personnel, ground and pound. Tim Burns, I really want to see Xavier get 5 targets. He's electrifying when he gets touches. Somebody's going to have to step up tonight, whether it's Mumpfield, Whittington, Atwell, or Ferguson, or Xavier Smith. Xavier Smith probably been targeted more than any of those guys, but we're this close, right? We're this close with Terrence Ferguson. This close. Let's see. Teddy Belcher, thank you for joining us, Teddy. I do appreciate it. Hope the Seahawks score a lot so the Rams can run it up over 50. There you go. I hope the Seahawks don't score at all and we still run it up over 50. I have no problem running up the score. You're adult men making millions of dollars. You don't like it, do something about it. You know, I'm cynical that way or spiteful that way. When I coached basketball teams and I felt my teams didn't work hard in practice or didn't take games seriously, I used to tell the other coach, I'm going to burn all my timeouts, burn all yours. I want my guys to suffer. So, yeah, I guess I'm a little cruel there. Pony Express, I think they have a great pass rush. It's just that teams have learned how to scheme against them. They've showed flashes of how they played last year, but it seems to come out in the second half. Down the stretch, they've made plays. I'm not going to argue that. But, you know, you can double up on verse all you want. If you're doubling up on verse, someone better get home. And I think what as Ram fans, what we don't like is we don't like screwing around with somebody that we should be blowing out of the water, right? And then just relying on it to be dialed up in the last 10 minutes of a game. You're right, Pony Express. They do seem to do that, but we want to see the full expression, right? It's like, I don't drink wine, but I've been told you open wine so it could breathe. Well, let's open up that pass rush in the first quarter so it can breathe and come to its full expression in the fourth. I'm feeling very caffeinated right now, and I don't know why. Oh, there you go. There you go, ESG. I meant Kroenke. Yeah. You know, do you think they should have restructured Nakua's contract? He's going to get fat next year. He's going to get a big fat one this offseason. Maybe they should have done it sooner. But I as long as he's being receptive to the coaching staff, I'm going to sneeze here in a second. As long as he's being receptive, I think there's no problem here. He's just a young guy who made certain decisions, right? Tim Burns, Atwell has 3 games to earn 10 rocks. Got to start tonight. No 2 catch 60 yards. I want 7. You know, then tell McVay to scheme a few things up for him. Tell him to scheme a few things up for him. I'm going to tell you right now, if Atwell catches 7 passes for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns, the Rams might get that 50 burger that Teddy Belcher is talking about, right? Steeler fan Rob, Seahawks 24, Rams 20. Of course, Steeler fan Rob, who's on track for a 9-8 season and a first-round playoff exit. Of course, that's where he's going to go. All right, let's see what we got here. Boom. Let's move it up. Who's here with me? Terry Wright is here with me. Thank you, Terry, for joining in. I do appreciate it. Let's see. Okay. Who is going to step up, right? Ferguson, Atwell, Smith. The way it seems like it's been this year is Xavier Smith. I love Atwell, but I don't think the Rams like Atwell for some reason. They just want to pay him money. I would put my money on Xavier Smith, hoping that this is the day that Ferguson breaks out. Ferguson has been really close to breaking out, and really hope that's going to happen. And then you look at the rest of our tight ends. I love our tight ends. I think offensively we should be okay as long as we're not being blistered up the middle, because Shelton, Avila, and even Kevin Dotson can't handle the Seattle front. My estimation here is I said 20-17 Rams. I'm disregarding my nightmare last night, and I'm going to take the Rams in the wet 17-13. 17-13. I'm taking the Rams. I see a lower scoring game. So there we go. All right, Pony Express. Let's see what we got here. I would like to see more aggressive with his play calling. Again, that bend but don't break defense drives me nuts. I'm guessing he does this because of the matchup against our corners. You know, I don't know. That's kind of been the whole Fangio thing ever since Staley got here. Staley brought the Fangio system in 2020. Raheem tinkered with it. Shula's tinkered with it. It is a bend, don't break. I remember carping and being really upset a few years ago that it seemed like let them do anything they want between the 20s and then hope Jalen Ramsey or Aaron Donald makes a big play inside the red zone. That's how it felt to me. I would like some more aggressive. They were more aggressive against Carolina, right? And they ISO'd those guys. And, hey, the Panthers made a couple of really good throws. And that was another game. I don't feel like they got to Bryce Young enough, but they did burn the Rams on a couple of those fourth down touchdowns, and they were being aggressive. They were, we call it cover zero in those games. And so I like aggression too, because I think those are flukes. I don't think they'll repeat themselves. Steeler fan, no, this is Tim Burns. Didn't the Steelers start a 5-game losing streak this time last year? Yeah, there you go. Steve Ramirez, chance of -7 yards for the Seahawks. Does anyone know what Steve Ramirez is talking about there? I'll take another hit of caffeine. Actually, joke's on you. It's decaf. 1979, Rams are struggling. Rams are really struggling. They can't get any traction in 79. They finished the year 9-7. They lose Hayden. Ferragamo comes in. They lose him briefly. They sign Bob Lee. Jeff Rutledge starts a game. And then Ferragamo comes back. Elvis Peacock goes down. McCutcheon's worn out. It's Wendell Tyler, who we're finding out about. There's just all kinds of things happening. A lot of things in the back end, injuries. Ron Jesse goes out for the year. Willie Miller's gone for the year. Guys are falling left and right. We're signing people like Bill Bain, who turned out to be pretty good later on. Ken Ellis, former Pro Bowl corner. Ivory Sully. We bring in all these guys. It's chaos. It's a chaos season. Doug France is ranting left and right, and we're losing to Chicago, right? Losing to the Saints at home. It was just a crazy season. So there was no expectation when the Rams went into Seattle in 79, and Jim Zorn and Steve Largent were in their prime. Jack Patero is considered a very innovative coach. They had Sherman Smith, pretty decent running back, and I remember my brother and I just going, "Oh no, this is we don't know what it was going to be like," and the Rams just beat the snot out of them and held the Seattle offense to -7 yards, right? -7 yards. Yeah. So yeah, that would be awesome to see that. That would really kind of button up a lot of mouths talking. Bill, are you concerned about the refs tonight with the Puka stuff? The refs jobbed him last year. And honestly, I think what this does is it does put the refs on the spot. And I would be ready to lodge a formal complaint if I was the Rams, if there's some ticky-tack thing they call on Puka, but that was a horrible thing they did to Puka last year and stuff. And the joke about it is everyone believes it half the time. They're upset about the refs for something. My God, they gave Pittsburgh a win in Baltimore on the Isaiah Likely play. Everyone knows these guys aren't perfect, and quite often they suck, right? So he just said what everyone said, but we got to keep quiet about it. And so, yeah, maybe Nakua is still feeling what happened last year. And I would put them on notice. If Snead is worth his salt, he shouldn't go, well, that happens because he opened his mouth. No, if they do a disservice to Nakua on the field, then they need to call out those guys. And McVay would need to say it from the podium. Again, these guys, man, they make blank you money. And when you make blank you money, yeah, you could get fined something, but you got to speak the truth, right? You got to speak the truth. Let's see. Pony Express. Not having Quentin Lake doesn't help that cause either, but we need the pass rush to get home. And I think we have to blitz more to keep Darnold off balance. Whatever they did the first time was good. Again, Darnold, big play guy, right? JSN, big play. And if you can force him to move, force him to get off his spot a little bit, make them, as I said on Wednesday's show, Tuesday show, matriculate down the field a little bit, make them work, make them run 10 or 12 plays to get downfield, then the more you put Darnold in difficult situations. Their running game is okay. It's not great because their offensive line's not great. And so it's not abysmal. It's just not great. And now they don't have Charles Cross. So there's opportunity here. And, we got to remember, it's not a Jeff Fisher team. I know I use the JF expression there, but it's not a Jeff Fisher team. It's not a Linehan team. It's not a Coach Spags team. It's a McVay team, right? And you generally get the feeling 90% of the time that if the Rams lose a game, it's because they lost to a better team. Once in a while, we get upset, but we do get the feeling that they've lost to a better team because the Rams seldom beat themselves. All right. Again, reminder here, Kistler Law, get the compensation you deserve. Be sure to check them out. Also, sports ball games. With Super Bowl coming up, it's a great way to test this. Looking for a way to bring your crew together, right? Super Bowl is one of them. Without the gambling stress or fantasy overload, try sports ball games. Free pick'em and squares live, leaderboards, and bragging rights built in. One click and you're in. No fees, no spreadsheets, no headaches. Just sports fun for you and your whole group to enjoy. Whether you're cheering from the break room or the backyard, sports ball games makes every game day a team event. Play for fun, brag for real. Let me drop that in the comment box there for you guys to see. Be sure to check them out. Mr. Burns, I see your comment. I'll be sure to get to you there, sir. Let's see. Terry Wright, Black Rifle or donuts? I owe you a little bird. He told me I'm in trouble. Black Rifle, Terry. You owe me Black Rifle. There you go. All right, John Gomez, thank you so much for clicking on. Here we go. Let's see what we got here. Mr. Burns. Young has to start taking advantage of the verse double teams again. He has tapered off. He's got 11 sacks. Each week we've seen him on the injury report kind of like with a little bit of a knee issue. And so I don't know what that plays into it a little bit, but he's had practice time where he's been a limited participant and stuff. So I think he's got a tender knee. Maybe it's not a sore knee. I don't think it's a serious injury, but it is something that may be playing. But, I want to see Josiah Stewart make a play, right? And it's obvious the Rams are searching for something because they basically demoted Nick Hampton, who's being brought up from the practice squad tonight, and moved DeJuan Johnson into that role because the Rams might have been looking for a little more spark there on the edge when their guys sub out. And that's one thing we do know. We do know that Jared Verse is going to get double teamed left and right. So, Paul, go Rams, great turquoise, white horns. Goat turquoise with white horns. Okay. Does anyone know what the Rams are wearing tonight? I'd be kind of curious to see what they're wearing tonight. I think the Seahawks are wearing their rivalry jerseys. So let's take a look at a couple things here. Tua benched for Quinn Ewers. Zach Wilson overlooked. I've always thought that there might be something to salvage with Zach Wilson. Time might be running out on him, but I'd be interested if the Rams didn't have anybody else to take a flyer on him, because the guy's got an electric arm. Maybe the brain is not electric, but the arm is. And then, of course, there's Cam Newton on Jameel Hill complaining or bringing up that he doesn't get paid as much as Tom Brady and Tony Romo. I think part of that might be because Cam Newton spends more time on his fashion. I think that's because he was a quarterback who never had back-to-back winning seasons. I think that's because he's a quarterback who fundamentally was not sound, who lived off his talent and never got better throwing the ball. So what would he have to offer in the deep down of being an analyst at a big-time game? So therefore, you're not going to make the bread. And when you go on Jameel Hill, you're basically saying, I don't want to work anywhere. You know, how do I crush my career? I go to Jameel Hill, right? And I just stay in the backwater of sportsdom, of sports talk, of the sports world, because that's what she is. And she's not a sports person, right? She's an angry person, you know, and big mistake. But Cam Newton's never been known to take proper coaching or proper advice. So there you go. Let's see. Blue jersey, yellow pants tonight. Okay, I like the yellow pants. Or royal, Steve corrects. Okay. Willie Bowen, Pastor Joe. I'm for Jordan Whittington, Xavier Smith getting their first reception TDs in Thursday's game. Yeah, let them both get one. I'll be happy about that. I really will. I think the Rams defense is going to be okay. Just can't give up the big play. And that means the big play on defense nor the big play on offense to give them life. I think the Rams were by far the superior team against the Lions last Sunday, but that pick and that subsequently slow start defensively gave the Lions life that the Rams didn't need to give. Hopefully, division opponent, there's anger, right? Bitterness, you know, revenge, retribution, payback on mind, all the things that work for you in sports. Pony Express, if Stafford can come out firing on all cylinders and hit his receivers and not overthrow them, he's got to be locked in and play a perfect game, and they can this game. They can win this game. I want to see that happen, but I want to see it. I want to see if the offensive line first can move their defensive front, right? If the Rams start off able to pound the ball, and then that really opens the passing attack. Because again, what does 13 personnel do? 13 personnel, that same setup all the time, you don't know what they're going to do, right? I remember this, and I'm trying to remember what the setup was, but I remember watching Joe Gibbs when I was a kid, and I really remember him most because Joe Gibbs was the first one that I remember. And I know there were others, but probably. He went to that feature back set, right, where he had Rigo in the backfield, and then, you know, he brought in like Clinton Didier was like the U-back or the hobo or the motion guy, kind of like what Mike Gooman became for us. And the fullback, sorry, Willie, was slowly eliminated from the football world's beginning stages of it being eliminated. But I remember them talking about how it always presented the same. And they were always running, the counter. They were always running the counter play. And I'll take all correction from you guys because I might have messed up the terminology. But they were saying what made it difficult was they could do anything out of that setup, anything, pass, run. And that 13 personnel, I think, offers the same breakdown and the same opportunity. So it is exciting, and I think that could lead to big stuff for the Rams, right? I really do. So let's keep pumping here. Tim Burns. All right. Cam needs Ryan Clark level monogram brooches. He would get more respect and more money. Willie Bowen. Everybody here. Willie Bowen. Okay? Willie, everyone channel your Willie Bowen, right? In fact, I'm going to screenshot Willie Bowen right now. Boom. Willie Bowen screenshot. All right? Let it be. Pony Express, the Hogs. Yeah. Hail to the Redskins, right? I love that team, right? I really, that's always been like my second team. The first Super Bowl I saw was Super Bowl VII, Redskins Dolphins. And of course, I was rooting for the George Allen, that whole 40 men together can't lose, one of my favorite NFL films. So I've always been kind of a Redskin fan, and that's why I refuse to call them the Commanders. They're the Taxskins, and what a tragedy that happened. They changed their name and capitulated. But the Hogs, man, hail to the Redskins, Riggo. That breakdown of the 82 Americas game, what were they running? 50 gut or something like that, and they kept calling in different plays, and they kept changing it in the huddle. Who was that? Who was the Redskins offensive lineman said, no, we're going to run it at Randy. We're going to keep running it Randy White. That was beautiful. Beautiful. Pony Express. Nobody could stop that Redskin team. 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. The best being Joe Theismann career-wise, and then the retribution and the restoration of Doug Williams, and then, of course, Mark Rippon. You got the most out of a 6th-round pick out of Washington State, right? And, I love that whole Redskin experience. That second quarter against the Broncos in the Super Bowl was fantastic. 70 chip. Now, isn't 70 chip what they ran against the Dolphins on 4th down with Riggo that he scored the touchdown on? Love that Super Bowl, by the way. And remember Don McNeil, who was a 1st-round cornerback, I think, out of Alabama for the Dolphins. Good, pretty decent corner in his career, but he tried to go high on Riggo. Instead of knocking out his ankles or taking him at the knees, he tried to wrap him up, and Riggo just pushed him down. John Riggins, man, that guy was a great running back. Great running back. All right, everyone's saying hi to Willie. Have fun with Willie. Art Monk. I was a Ricky Sanders guy.
Where's Ricky Sanders?
Of course, Ronald Reagan was a Ricky Sanders guy too.
Where's Ricky Sanders?
Yeah, one more time for 30
Where's Ricky Sanders?
Yeah, I was a Ricky Sanders guy. That was, I did like the Redskins. There we go. We turned this into Redskin talk. There you go. Anything else there you guys want to throw at me? The Diesel. Remember they had the guy with the headpiece and do the right? That was pretty cool. Let me run through this real quick. Of course, I got the Rams or the Seahawks tonight. Eagles, I got them beating the Taxskins. Packers at the Bears. I'm going with the Bears. Jalen Watson, bigger deal than Micah Parsons as far as I'm concerned. But I'm going with the Bears in that one. Buccaneers at Panthers. Just when you want to believe in the Panthers, they lose to New Orleans, right?
Where's Ricky Sanders?
Well, they could have used Ricky Sanders, but they didn't get him. So the Bills and Browns, we're going to go Bills in this one. Bills kind of getting some momentum going here. That was a huge win in New England. Chargers at Cowboys. I know people are picking the Cowboys in this one. I'm going to stick with the Chargers because, I got to give the opportunity to the Spanos to let me down. Bengals at Dolphins. Now, that one is that one's kind of awkward there, right? How do you do Bengals-Dolphins, right? Because both teams likely are just about done, right? They quit. They moved on. They're doing something else in life here. Joe Burrow is freaking everybody out. And then you got the Dolphins. They're starting Quinn Ewers. I don't know what to do.
I've got to know.
All I can say is the Dolphins goofed when they gave Tua 99 rocks dead cap money for next year, right? A $50 million contract. I think the Dolphins have quit less than the Bengals have, so I'm going to go Dolphins in this one. Jets, Saints, I'm going Saints. Vikings at Giants, we're going to go Vikings in this one. Chiefs at Titans, I'm going Titans in this one. I know everyone's thinking, how can you pick the Titans, right? Even Vin Scully.
I can't believe it.
He's not thrilled about it, but I'm going with the Titans because there's nothing left in the Chiefs. Falcons at Cardinals. You got to go Falcons. The Cardinals wouldn't dare do us a favor. Jaguars at Broncos. I'm going with the Broncos. Steelers at Lions. We're going with the Lions. Even Steeler fan Rob is going with the Lions. Raiders at Texans. You got to go Texans. And then, of course, Patriots at Ravens. Should be pretty interesting. Much more important game for the Ravens. They got to keep pace with Pittsburgh. But I'm going to lean New England. I'm not going to pick against New England. And on Monday night, I'm taking Colts over the 49ers. There you go. I think we got it all in. All right. Yeah, how does that work out, Steve? Good call. I thought about that, but I didn't do any investigation. A tie is as good as a win for the Rams, right? It holds them back, right? Break that down for us, Steve, and I'll put it on the board here. I think Colby Parkinson and Poona Ford will have big games tonight. Yeah, going home, knocking some skulls, right? Going home and knocking skulls. All right, let's go. Let's get to this day in Rams history.
Stone Group, my man.
On this day in Rams history, the Rams waived in 2018 Pharaoh Cooper, 4th-round pick, 117 overall in 2016 out of South Carolina. This guy was an all-pro. He was a Pro Bowler in 2017, and the Rams put him in the street. I remember watching the report of that saying it was a numbers game. There was issues with Todd Gurley. They waived Pharaoh Cooper, and they signed C.J. Anderson. Anyone remember C.J. Anderson? Undrafted free agent, 2013, out of Cal by the Broncos. They played him, made a couple of Pro Bowls, had a 1,000-yard season with the Broncos. And then in 2018, he was released by the Broncos in April, waived by the Panthers in November, waived by the Raiders in December, and then he signed a 1-year, $1.5 contract with the Lions the following year. In between, he played 2 regular season games for the Rams, rushed for 299 yards, and then had another huge playoff game against the Cowboys that year, and was key to the Rams getting to the Super Bowl because the end of the Todd Gurley run was already started. And C.J. Anderson, 4 games, I think it was 4 games he played for the Rams. They ought to build a statue to him. I really love the C.J. Anderson run. He played a little bit with Detroit and then retired and decided to walk away. But C.J. Anderson gave a lot to the Rams in that little window in 2018. And then, of course, on this day in 1949, I wasn't there, believe it or not, but the Eagles beat the Rams 14-0 in Philly. I believe that was the snowstorm game where there was a bunch of snow there. Let's see. Willie Bowen, royal blue and mustard yellow uniforms are favorite in LA. As long as it's not the total mustard color. I don't like that whole thing. Let's see here. Willie Bowen talking again. They're his favorite colors on the Rams uniforms. I don't like the total. I like the golden, the blue and the gold. I'm there. $5 Steve. Keeps us a half game ahead of Frisco and tied with Seattle, and we hold the tiebreaker. Bingo. There you go. I knew there was an argument there. I just didn't do the work that you did there, Steve, going forward. And so what we want to see is we really want the Packers to beat the Bears, right? That's one thing we want. We want the Packers to beat the Bears. And I think the Colts have a shot against the 49ers. Let's remember this. The 49ers, I brought this up on the last broadcast. The 49ers have played, what would that? Let me see if I still got the notes here. Yeah, here we go. The 49ers have 10 wins. 2 of those have come against teams with winning records, the Rams and the Seahawks. That Seahawk win was week 1, where it's basically a preseason game. And then the win against the Rams when Kyron Williams fumbled at the 6-inch line. Those are 22 wins right there. The other 8 teams combined, that's the Cardinals twice, have won 29 games. The last 6 victories for the 49ers have come against teams with win totals of 5, 2, 3, 7, 3, and 2. Now, I know Shanahan and them have done a great job, but boy, they haven't exactly played, they haven't exactly played the 75 Steelers, right? They haven't exactly played the 99 Rams. But let's see how they do in Indy, which is their last road game. And again, Indy, without any corners, without Tavarius Ward, Sauce Gardner, they held this Seahawk offense without a touchdown. And now the 49ers, after the Colts game, will have to come home. They'll have to play the Bears, who are still fighting to lock up their division, and the Seahawks, who are still trying to keep opportunity open when they play the Rams. So none of the 49ers' last 3 games are going to be give-me's. No one's going to take their foot off the pedal here. I think Frisco could be 10-7 before the season is over. Just my thinking on that one. They could be 10-7. Let's see. ESG, you Google who has the softest strength of schedule in 25, and the 49ers keep popping up. Yeah, they do. You're right. Everyone was talking about that at the beginning of the year. I wasn't worried about it because it's the 49ers. They're going to break down. They've had a ton of injuries, but a lot of those injuries to the 49ers this year didn't happen to the guys we expected to get injured. Trent Williams has been out there, and Christian McCaffrey has been out there. They lost the younger guys. They lost Brandon Ayuk never came back. They lost Ricky Pearsall. They lost Jawan Jennings. George Kittle's a little bit older, but they lost him after week 1. They lost Fred Warner, of course, but they lost a lot of guys in between. So give them credit because they've won the games they should be winning, and they stole one against the Rams, or the Rams handed them one. Merry Christmas. And then that week 1, people are getting all excited talking about the Texans defense, which is really good, but they're saying they held the Rams to 14 points. And I was like, that's week 1. That's the first game all the Rams starters are playing. That doesn't mean anything, right? And then week 1, Frisco up in Seattle. I think Sam Darnold coughed that game away, didn't he? Oh, sorry, we're not supposed to talk about that. But yeah, Frisco has done what they're supposed to do, but they really haven't beaten anybody but the Rams and the Seahawks once each. So this could be a collapse coming for Frisco. If it happens and they finish 10-7, I'm going to be the biggest jerk to be around. You guys aren't going to want to be around me. You guys are going to go watch Peyo's show and hang out with him because you're going to say, well, Peyo doesn't yak about how great he was, right? But I am going to talk a lot about it if the 49ers finish 10-7. Tonight, I like the Rams 17-13 in the rain. I'd like it to be 17-6 with about three seconds to play, and we give up a weak touchdown to Zach Charbonnet, right? And then it would be really nice not to have to stress over this game. There we go. I am more afraid of San Francisco than Seattle, just due to the matchup, and McVay has more issues with the Niners. Not a bad comment. Not a bad take at all. Not a bad take at all there, Mr. Burns. So there we go. Boom. I think we're good. All right. I got that covered. Terry Wright, thank you again for joining us. She likes Quinn Ewers. Frisco, I think we're getting a handle on them because how did we say this? McVay's made the adjustments. We've changed the personnel. They're married to a bunch of old guys. That doesn't mean they can't scheme. They had their shot up at Levi in the second game, and the Rams racked them pretty good. But yeah, I think because of the history between Shanahan and McVay, that can be scary. But we're going to find out, about Seattle right now, and there's 2 things I'm going to say here is one, the season is not over if something ends up bad tonight. Steeler fan Rob's going to be hee-heeing and moaning and groaning and enjoying and celebrating, dancing in the streets of Missouri if the Seahawks win because he just likes to antagonize us. It's not the end of the world if you lose to a division opponent in an environment like this. It's just not. You could be angry, but I have a feeling if the Rams lose this game, they're going to be angry at themselves, right? But it's not the end of the world. It's just not. And the other thing is you want to come out of it healthy, right? You want to come out. Think how quick the world looked like it was changing when Nakua got the cramps, right? Right after the previous series where Adams went down. So hopefully Adams is used as a decoy tonight. Maybe he comes in and draws some attention to make the running game a little easier. The other thing, if you hear screaming coming out of Southern California, it'll be because the Rams took the ball from their 35 and drove it all the way to the Seattle 4 on the ground. And on a 1st and goal at the 4, McVay decides to throw the ball 3 times. Okay? That generally has a way of getting my goat. And then finally, I guess I have to share it because maybe it'll be just the opposite effect. I literally dreamed about this game last night. I dreamed the Rams got off to a good start. I dreamed that things started falling apart and the game was decided. I'm not going to say decided, but there was a pivotal play where I saw Stafford and Shelton bobble a snap under center, and the Seahawks recovered. So there you go. Now, maybe it won't come true if I said that, right? If it did, I'll never mention my dreams. If it does, I'll never mention my dreams again. Tim Burns, Ewers has a great arm and uses different angles to throw. He's a good quarterback. He's going to surprise people with a win. I think he's got the team playing harder than the Bengals are. Ewers disappointed me last year, and not as an individual, but just I thought he'd be a better quarterback last year. But Ewers has made, I think in college, he made something like 14 to 16 rocks playing college ball. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's see here. 92 Gold joins us. Trade Puka next year if he doesn't get his head right. That's an awful thing to say, but I can guarantee you if something goes amiss with this kid in a pejorative way, there's goofy stupid like Woody in Cheers, and then there's George Pickens kind of stuff, right? Who is always the victim and it's somebody else's fault. If he becomes George Pickens type, he'll be gone. If he's Woody, he's going to get a sitting down to. This kid has had a perfect record for his first 2.5 seasons, right? It's only been in the last couple of weeks. It's been like, oh, dude, what are you doing? You know, because he's a kid. He's a kid. So only reason I would think about trading Nakua eventually is because you want to get rid of him a year early before you get rid of him a year too late, because you see how fast it can change with your receiver. And a receiver like him, the physical game he plays, it's pretty brutal. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. We're at the 40. I was going to go 30 minutes tonight. I was going to go 30 minutes, and I went way, way, way too long. All right, guys, let's get ready for that Ram game. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a post show tonight or if it'll just be tomorrow's show. It's been a crazy season for me. It's Christmas, right? If you guys just want to know anything, you know, if you want me to get me anything for Christmas, just go buy my books on Amazon. And if you want to send me anything, I'm a XX. Okay, guys, God bless. Take care. And we will see you. 92 Gold, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you being here. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you later, guys.